Patheticthepodcast. Tonight, we're going to be giving you our Super Bowl predictions, a little preview on it. We're also going to talk a little bit more about the Jets and the Giants because they are the gift that keeps giving. I mean, they never go away. So we'll do that, and then maybe next week we'll be able to start a little bit more on baseball with the Jets and the Giants. I want to remind you, please, with the Jets and Giants, with the Mets and the Yankees. I want to remind you, please like and subscribe. Let's get this going. Mikey, how are you tonight?
I'm doing great. This is a fun week. I went out a little while ago, got all the snacks ready to go. I got my
you gotta send me the
Super Bowl
numbers.
boxes
You gotta send me
ready.
the numbers when
I
you get them, Mike.
everything ready to go. I will.
Yeah.
And I also got ready for the Olympics. We'll get to that at the end of the podcast. Spoiler alert for the Mush picks. But Jeff, how we doing?
I'm ready to go, man. I can't wait. But it's like bittersweet, the Super Bowl, right? Because that means football's over and we have to wait till September for, in my opinion, the best sport in the country. But this game's not getting much juice for some reason, but I think it's a good game. And, you know, as long as there's good food and good people,
yeah, I think it's going to be
any game will be good. But I'm excited for it.
It's not getting
any
juice at all. So,
you know why? It's because none of the local radio people are sitting in Radio Row. I know it doesn't make a huge difference, but if you have a guy sitting at Radio Row, it feels like it's a big event. When New York's, radio stations are not showing up to the event, it kind of kills the vibe a little bit.
The Jets and the Giants always have news. There's always something going on. The Giants are rounding out their coaching staff with John Harbaugh. I keep always getting Jim and John mixed up. But Jeff, what are your thoughts on what they did with the position coaches are what they are, but with the defensive coordinator and the offensive coordinator? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to coordinators, I don't think there's any one that really makes you jump up and down and say, oh, this is an amazing hire. It's just you want a guy that's not going to be a disaster, And I think what John Harbaugh is doing right now is he's filling the room with competency. We'll start with Matt Nagy. I know he's getting a little bit of heat from Giant fans. I think most Giant fans aren't happy with this hire. And I think it's because his name, for whatever reason, is still pretty heavily associated with the Bears and how bad it went there. But it really didn't go as bad as people say it did. Just the last year wasn't good. But as far as that hire, I like it because, again, he's somebody that has a lot of experience. He's an adult in the room. I think that's exactly what the Giants need. So I was very happy with that hire. My first choice was Cliff Kingsbury. I thought he would have been the right move, but I'm very happy with Nagy. I have zero issue with it. Their DC, Renard Wilson, I like that pick. He did a very good job with the Titans a couple years ago. I think they were number 2 in the league. Last year wasn't good, but the Titans were bad, so you can't put that all on him. So listen, so far so good. They wanted Munkin, who obviously took the job in Cleveland. God help him. I think he's probably better off working under Harbaugh, but you can't turn down that money, right? But overall, it's not that I'm like jumping up and down for these two guys, but I have zero issue with it. They're both very experienced, and again, this is exactly what the Giants need. So
I know
I'm very happy with it.
We have enough fish to fry here with the Jets, but any thoughts on what the Giants did with there?
Yeah, I mean, as long as Matt Nagy's not going to be your head coach, I think you're going to be pretty happy. I think you could probably say that about some of the Jets coordinator picks and the coaches that they've brought on, as long as they're not going to be the head coach, which we'll get to them in a minute on the Jets. But I think Matt Nagy is a great offensive coordinator. I think that's the kind of guy you want with Jackson Dart, who can, help them along and bring a good scheme to things and let them do what they need to do. But I think that's a good hire, especially, again, he's not running any sort of show. He's not doing any of the heavy lifting. He's just helping Jackson Dart out, which is what you want him to do.
A John Harbaugh, a Mike McCarthy, a Mike Tomlin, guys like that. Whoever they pick as their coordinators, it is what it is. You got to trust them. You have to trust them. And I mean, they've never exhibited a reason for you not to trust them. So, that's the good part. When it comes to the Jets, It's a crazy situation because I've gone back and forth with the way I feel about everything that's going on. Mike, the first thing I want to address is what one of the local WFAN morons reported. Sean Morash on the Tiki and Evan show, which I love that show, but he's a clown. And he comes out with that one of his sources said that Darren Muji was at the Senior Bowl telling other NFL people that he hates being the general manager. It's a toxic situation. No coaches should ever want to come here. And then he says that Glenn flew down to Florida, told Woody that he was going to hire Wink Martindale, and Woody told him, I'm not paying another guy when you're making $12 million a year. You do it. When in reality, that part of the story was everybody from the organization met in West Palm. And when Aaron Glenn threw out the idea of maybe I should be calling the defensive plays, Woody said, if you want to do that, that's probably the best thing. And then don't hire someone who absolutely has to call the plays. So that's why Wink Martindale didn't get the job, because he wanted to call the plays, which I don't blame him. But if Aaron Glenn's going to call the plays,
Right.
bring in a young guy just to help with the defense and be the coordinator in name only. And the other thing is, Darren Muji wasn't even at the Senior Bowl. And then Morash has the nerve to argue that his sources, now his sources are saying he wasn't at the Senior Bowl, but he was on video. Come on, stop. Just stop. You're embarrassing yourself at this point.
It was probably some guy got drunk, and the guy kind of looked like Darren Muji at a bar near the Senior Bowl and said something stupid. And the guy thought it was legit. Oh, I got to tell Morash this. What a loser. Like, I'm sorry. I don't even want to give it credence in terms of giving it any more airtime than that. But, like, just, I'm not even going to justify it with more of a response than just you loser. That's it. That's all you're going to get.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, I agree. Morash really, he didn't ruin his career, but any chance he had of getting a show, which I'm sure he wants to do, like his partner did, that's now put on pause because he really hurt his credibility because everybody was like, no, man, this is just not true. And then he backtracked, Uncle Ted, like you said on the story. All of a sudden, now it's on video when he said he was at the Senior Bowl. So it was really a disaster. But I will say this about Wink Martindale. I like Wink Martindale. In fact, if you look at the Giants, they've been bad defensively since him and Dable had the breakup. But I think the Wink Martindale and Aaron Glenn relationship would have been an absolute disaster. Very similar to Wink and Dable. So bad, Wink actually walked out and never came back. And I think you have two alpha males, right? And they are, 10 out of 10 alpha males, those two. Both defensive guys. They probably have different ideas. I think that hire, the name would have been really good, but I think with Aaron Glenn there would have been a disaster. So I think you guys actually dodged the bullet. And listen, you said, Uncle Teddy, coordinator in name only. That's what Aaron Glenn is. I mean, let's be honest. He's really not, from what we've seen, a head coach.
Well,
he's a defensive coordinator.
He left the defensive coordinator.
Yes, so far.
He should have been more of a defensive coordinator.
I think it's actually the right move.
Letting Steve Wilkes run with the idiocy that he ran with. You're right. Mike, what do you think about the Frank Reich hire?
So I think it's a great hire. I think he's going to be a very, very good offensive coordinator. If that's what ultimately they're going to have him in there to do, it's going to obviously depend on the quarterback. But realistically, this is going to be your interim coach if something happens where the Jets get off to a terrible start and they have to cut bait on Aaron Glenn. You're going to see Frank Reich as the next coach of the New York Jets. So that you could pretty much lock that in right now that the next coach of the Jets is going to be Frank Reich at this point. So because I don't see this team somehow magically getting, unless crazy things change and the draft automatically changes somehow, you're not going to get the game-changing quarterback there. and you're going to have something where you just need to, cut bait with him and go from there. So I love Frank Reich. I think he's going to be great. I think you got to, again, get a good quarterback in there that he can work with and
wasn't
really
aware,
go from
like,
there.
even when Andrew Luck left Indy, and he kind of got stuck when Andrew Luck left, he still had 3 seasons where they were in the top 10 in offense. And he works well with quarterbacks. Now, he didn't work well with Bryce Young, but Bryce Young was a disaster his first year. He really was. But Boomer Esiason was on the Rich Cimini podcast today, and Boomer had a couple of really great points. And Boomer's always very negative about the Jets. So I thought this was interesting. First of all, talking about Aaron Glenn calling the defensive plays, he said, listen, if Aaron Glenn can straighten out the defense, he says, and Frank Reich takes care of the offense, gets in a Jacoby Brissett or a Mac Jones or a even like a Kirk Cousins. He says, hell, he's even a Carson Wentz. He said, Frank told him they have some good weapons that he would like to rely on. And they have a great offensive line. And the offensive line coach worked with Ben Johnson in Detroit. And Frank Reich really likes him. And Boomer said, if Glenn could straighten out the defense, Frank Reich will do fine with the offense. And if they have a good draft, he goes, you could see this team win 7 games and Aaron Glenn is back kind of on course. And I would love to see that happen because I don't want to see them have to blow out another coach. And what would be great is if you draft a quarterback in the 2nd round, late 1st, 2nd round, 3rd round, whenever you pick them, it all depends who you pick in free agency or trade. Next year, you do have 3 number 1 picks that you can always say, listen, we'll trade you all 3 picks for your number 1 or your number 2, and then we'll throw in a pick for next year if the franchise guy is coming out next year. And then maybe you're set. So maybe there is a little reason to be maybe a little optimistic that, because I have a lot of faith in Muji. I really do. He's done a lot of good things. So it's just going to matter. What do they do? The one guy I don't want here is Kyler Murray. I don't want Kyler Murray. No. So whoever else they get, listen, whoever else they get, pick the worst free agent or the worst guy you can trade for. And he's better than what they played last year. Right? I mean, if you put Carson Wentz behind this offensive line, he would do better than Brady, Cook, and Justin Fields did. So whatever it is, get a competent professional in there. Yeah. I'd love to see Jacoby Brissett. I would love that. But,
Yeah. Or Malik Willis. I think that'd be a great one.
I think Willis is probably my guy who I would love to see in there. I don't know if you're gonna have to pay a lot for him. Probably you're gonna have to do some things, but if you like him and you're not sure what you're gonna do next year in terms of that, I think maybe it's worth giving up a one of the ones.
Oh, I wouldn't.
That you got from someone. Give Green Bay back their one.
Yeah, I don't.
You have so many, though. You have so many, so I mean, it's
back a 2 or give him a 2
like Lord of the Rings.
For Willis.
My precious.
One of the 2s.
Those are the picks. My precious.
Yeah, but you know what? Listen, I'm not even fully opposed to giving up a 1 for him. It's a little crazy, but if you think about it, it's not that crazy.
Wait,
because look, think about the college quarterbacks next year. We have, or even this year.
He's a free agent.
Willis.
Yeah, my understanding is
that. Oh, he is a free agent. Who are you talking about?
Yeah, Mike, were you?
Oh, I thought. Okay, Mike. I thought
he was still on a contract.
No, I thought
with
Willis is going to be a free agent.
Okay, perfect. Then that's my guy because I think.
Well,
that's the guy you guys should go after because he could
like
potentially be the future. Who knows?
Horse.
I mean, that would be really great if you can get it out of the way now.
What about Will Levis? Working with a guy like Frank Reich?
No way. Absolutely. Oh, no. Will Levis is terrible. Will Levis is terrible. Malik Willis, I am all in. Even the guys you mentioned, and I agree with you on Kyler Murray. That is the last. I'd probably rather have Levis than Murray because
that's a problem.
Murray just doesn't want to work, and that's a problem. I don't think that's the case with Levis. I just don't think he's good. But as far as the Reich hire, this was the perfect hire for the Jets. This is exactly who they needed. And I texted this to you guys in the group. because again, I have zero faith that Aaron Glenn is a good coach, and I'd be shocked with the schedule coming up that he makes it past week 6. But the only way he can is if he has some help. And now he has a guy who, albeit didn't have a ton of success as a head coach, he's a guy that can help Glenn, as long as Glenn is willing to accept the help, which, I think Frank Reich comes off as that guy who's not too aggressive, so maybe he will. But it's very similar to the Matt Nagy hire, right? You have an experienced guy in the room, and you know what you're getting, right? Even if you think he's okay and not great, take your pick, whatever you feel. You know exactly what you're getting with Frank Reich, right? You're getting a guy that has a ton of experience, knows his way around the league, knows his way around developing players. And, Mike, like you said, it really just depends on, who they land at quarterback. But I think it was a very good hire by the Jets.
Yeah, it's good to have a professional guy in there. Again, you don't want the first-time offensive coordinator, especially with a guy who's Aaron Glenn, who's a tough, not really an offensive guy. You don't want to have another situation where have somebody who knows what they're doing on that side of the ball. Let Aaron Glenn focus on the defense. Let Reich take over the offense and run it the way he wants to do it, and let them see what happens, because
Boomer
it can't be any worse
Frank
than
Reich
what it's
took
been.
the job. He says, and when the way he described it to him, they had a dinner the other night. He said the way he described it to him is he felt like he really wanted to go in and work with Aaron Glenn. They've been friends for a very long time, and he felt that, he goes, this was important. And he said, apparently Glenn reached out to him and said, I would be very comfortable with you being here with me. So I think, that would be great. That would really be great. I'm
get along.
I'm hoping it works out. I mean, I hope for that every year, but I don't get it.
I know.
Yeah,
but you know what? You can't sorry, Mike. You can't underestimate the importance of getting along with the coaches. It's so important, because once the coaches have one fight, it's not like a player and a coach. When the coaches start fighting, it just snowballs into disaster. We've seen it we saw it with the Giants and Wink Martindale, right? He was a great DC. Him and Dable had one fight over something probably ridiculous, like a play call, and they just went like this, and that was it. It was fire and gasoline, right? Yeah. So the fact that they're friends, I think, is great. I really do. I think it's a very underrated positive to this hire. But again, like I said before, guys, it's just like the Matt Nagy hire. You got a guy that knows what he's doing, man. There's no guesswork. He knows his way around the playbook. He knows how to develop an offense. So you know what you're getting, So it's important to get that experienced guy in the room, man, for sure. Mike?
No, I was just saying that's really what you want. You're not really trying to do anything different. So I'm excited for him. Hopefully we could do something. So that's
it cannot be any worse.
It can't be any worse than what we've done in the past. So that's really where I'm at this point. It can't be worse.
Well, the Giants have a lot more pressure than the Jets do. A lot more pressure. The Giants have to be good. And I'm not saying they have to win a Super Bowl, but to me, there's a playoff mandate.
You
if
have
not
to be in
this year, then definitely next year. I think it's this year, right? With the
let me ask
at
you,
a bare minimum.
Let me ask you something, Jeff. If they finish, what's the number that you have to finish at where you're going to be okay? Is it 8 wins? Is it 9 wins? Do they need to get to 10? Where do they need to get to this year?
Oh man, it's so hard to put a number on it. I mean, just off the top of my head, 9 wins. It has to be 9 wins, because they have the quarterback, we think, right? I think we all think that. Right. I think the Giants have a talented roster. I really do. And I think with the right defensive coordinator, that front four is going to be nasty if they're coached properly. I think a very underrated hire that hasn't happened yet is the offensive line coach, whoever they bring in. That may be just as important as the offensive coordinator in Matt Nagy. So if they get a good guy coaching this offensive line, which has gotten better over the last year, credit to Shane, by the way. I know we usually knock him, but he deserves credit for building the offensive line. But just to answer your question, Mike, honestly, for me, it's a playoff mandate. I don't even care about the number as much, because, whatever, just get in, right? Maybe they win a crucial game at the end of the year to get in. But I think with the John Harbaugh hiring, which we're all high on, I think, right? With Jackson Dart going into year 2, who's a Rookie of the Year candidate, I don't think the division is as good as it used to be, right? I think the Eagles are in serious trouble. Dallas, I don't like the coach at all. Washington, I'm not sold on Washington, even though I like the quarterback. So I think the Giants have to make the playoffs next year. I really do.
And the NFC West next year.
Yep. And I will say something interesting, that if Seattle wins the game on Sunday, would it shock you if it's Seahawks, Giants, Thursday night, opening the season, raising the banner at the 12 and having John Harbaugh's first game be in Seattle? Even if the Patriots win, then that game's now Sunday Night Football. Right. Seahawks, Giants. The Giants are going to be playing primetime that first week. One of the games, it's going to be they're either going to throw them against the Eagles or the Cowboys, which they always do on those either Sunday night or Monday night game to start the season. Or if the Seahawks win, they're going to be playing Thursday night, to open the season.
It's so funny you mentioned primetime, Mike, because you're right. They're going to get a lot of primetime games next year because obviously Dart is popular around the league. People like him. He's a little flashy or whatever, but people do like the guy. They have Harbaugh now. I think they will be much better than next year. But I hate the primetime games because, first of all, the Giants never win primetime. All right. I know it's a different regime, but it's just for whatever reason, they don't win primetime. But even if they do, I can't sleep. My heart rate is up, whether it's good or bad. Either way, if it's a game that ends at 11:30 at night, I need an off day of work. So I hate when the Giants play primetime, but they're going to get a lot of them next year. I don't think there's any question.
They're also going to get a lot of 4:25 games as well. They're not going to be sticking them at 1 o'clock. Yeah. That is strictly going to be Aaron Glenn and the Jets. Just lock them in for 1 o'clock every time, and they're going to throw one Monday night game against the Patriots where we can embarrass ourselves or something ridiculous like that.
Ideally for you, your opening game should be at home against either the Browns or the Cardinals. That would be great. Under the radar.
Oh, that'd be beautiful.
No, I know that.
That'd be beautiful.
That's not what they're going to do, though.
They're not
going to do that. You're going to play the 49ers, Cowboys, or Eagles at home. Those are going to be one of those three is going to be the home game, or you're going to be at Seattle or at the Giants or at the Cowboys or at the Eagles.
Yeah. I actually think it'll be a Giant home game. I think they want to have that crowd get back into it, so I wouldn't be surprised. But
yeah, it is.
Either way, it's going to be a night game.
One last thing before we get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Did you guys see what happened with the Bo Nix, Sean Payton thing this week?
The last thing I saw was Payton said something about his injury, and Bo Nix wasn't happy about it. That was the last story.
Sean Payton came out.
I didn't see this. No,
or last week, maybe the end of last week, press conference, and he said they asked him about
I think it was last week.
Bo Nix's injury, and he said something about the ankle, and then he said, "Yeah, and I just kind of found out that he had that ankle had surgery when he was at wherever he was at. Was he at Auburn for a little bit? Yeah." He was at Auburn. He had surgery, and he had surgery in high school, and now he just had a surgery again. Yep. He says, and when he told me about the injury, he said, "Why does that matter?" And he says, "Well, if I'd have known this, I wouldn't have picked you." And Bo Nix got ticked off because after the press conference, because those are HIPAA violations. You don't talk about people's injuries like that, and Sean Payton knew about those. If you're telling me Sean Payton and his staff did not know about the injuries, then they're more inept than the Jets. Because they go through these guys with a fine-tooth comb. Exactly.
Right. You got to go everything. So they know everything about everybody.
Sean Payton's a beforehand. Real tool and a half.
I was going to use one of your phrases. He is a grade A jack tool, Sean Payton.
Yep.
All right. No one likes him. Okay, except Drew Brees, and who knows? Maybe Drew Brees. He's a nice guy. Maybe deep down he's like, yeah, he's an asshole. Right. We have no idea.
Right.
But there's no surprise that every quarterback besides Brees coaches, players, they don't like Sean Payton. He doesn't have a good relationship with his guys.
He fired his
this is the
offensive
reason why.
coordinator.
These type of stupid
Yet the
things
offensive
he does.
coordinator was not the one calling plays.
No,
correct.
Right, exactly.
You got Jared
Jeez
Stidham
Louise,
playing. Come on
Right.
now.
Yeah. Although I do like Davis
what,
Webb.
In a
Fired Davis
snowstorm.
Yeah.
I do like Davis Webb, though. Yeah, well, they promoted him from. I think he was the passing game coordinator. He's a good football guy, man. He was on the Giants for a little while. He was helping as a third string quarterback, and people raved about his coaching ability.
Should the offensive coordinator have said to him in the end of the year
he's a good
meetings,
coach.
Hey, was that me who said we shouldn't go for the field goal? Was that me who called that fourth down play? No, it was you, idiot.
Right.
Yeah, it's so annoying. But
Right.
So the Super Bowl this Sunday night, 6:30. Seattle Seahawks, New England Patriots. Jeff, give us your thoughts on the game. Not your picks, just your thoughts.
So, like I said in the opening, this game's not getting a lot of juice, but I love this game. I really do. Great defenses, great offenses, great coaches. Both had great years, great stories with the quarterbacks, with Darnold and May, right? Whoever wins, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But I think just between those two guys, like whoever wins has a great story to tell. You got a second-year guy, right? That'd be awesome. And he's a good guy, right? Very classy and says the right things and does the right things. And then you have Darnold, who's been through hell and back in the NFL, only to get to the Super Bowl before his fellow draftees, right? So either way, it's a great story. But the game itself, I am really looking forward to this game. And Mike, I think you're right. I was thinking about why is this game not getting a lot of juice? I think for us, usually we see the New York media there. I don't know, maybe there's some guys, I haven't seen them. And I just think these two quarterbacks are so vanilla and milquetoast. They don't have like big personalities, so no one's really drawn into this. Like if it was like Mahomes versus Brady, right? Even Eli versus Brady back in the day was like a, kind of like a rivalry in a way, right? A Super Bowl rivalry. There was a lot of juice. But with these two guys and these two teams, they're very just vanilla, right? So, but the game itself, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be a great matchup of two defenses that really have been the stars of the show for both of these teams. I think the offense at times, especially for New England, has been kind of suspect and kind of, a little bit not explosive like you would think of a lot of these teams have been. So I think that's going to be very interesting to see how Drake May does against the Seahawks defense, who's been legit this whole season. Seattle has played a bunch of teams that have been pretty good and have really not had to do a lot to get through these games. So, I'm curious to see that. I'm curious to see how Sam does against that Vrabel defense. I think the coaching staff of New England has been there before. So I think that experience is going to help them, get through the jitters and everything else, where McDonald it's his first time, as a coach going to the Super Bowl. So I think it's something that you're going to have to keep an eye on. But, if I look at these two teams, I think Seattle clearly is a little bit better, but you can't take anything away from New England because of the way they've played this whole year, unfortunately. So
they got to the Super Bowl. So we could talk all about the soft schedule, what Drake May did against teams that were, much better than the crappy ones he was playing and all. But I think it's going to be an interesting game. I think it's going to be the kind of game that, I just think it's going to be entertaining. I'm a huge Sam fan. Starting from the first time this poor guy, Jeff, you're right. He's been through so much. And I mean, even before he was drafted.
Oh, yeah.
His family sitting with Jimmy Haslam in the bleachers at his pro day, thinking he's going to be the number one overall. And then they pick Baker Mayfield. And then he kind of gets screwed over with the Jets. Jets just don't give him anything. He has the I'm seeing ghost thing. And then he's traded to to Carolina. It doesn't work there.
Yep.
He goes to, where do you go from Carolina to San Francisco? San Francisco. Then he goes
Minnesota,
to
right?
Francisco.
Oh, San Francisco. That's right. He went to
Right.
San Francisco.
Then
And
he
he was
goes
on
to
the Super Bowl
Minnesota.
team
He
there.
plays
He
lights
was.
out. The whole team craps the bed the last 2 games of the season. And he's the one who pays the price for it so that they can stick with J.J. McCarthy, which you think they want that that decision back, right?
Yeah.
And then Seattle signs
Minnesota
him,
really paid.
and as
They
soon
paid
as
the
they
price.
sign him,
Right.
people are destroying Seattle for that's too much money for Sam Darnold. You're in the Super Bowl. So that's where I feel about Sam. I'm a huge Sam Darnold fan, and I'll be rooting hard for him on Sunday. But we got to make our picks. We got to pick this game. So I'm going to flip a T. Hold on one second.
Well, do we want to do my mush picks
let's
first
do that.
before
Let's
we
do
get
your
into
mush
the picks for the
first.
game, or do we want to?
Okay.
Yeah, because I want to get those as out of the way as quickly as possible because they were not great last week. 0 for 3 in French rugby union. Toulon lost by 20, 12-32 against Pau. La Rochelle, who was minus 450, was, of course, the one game I don't pick the underdog. They get smoked by 20 points against Lyon. And then Clermont, the plus 310 big underdog that I was picking, they lost 23-28. So a big 0 for 3 stinker for Mikey Mush. But it is that time. It is bring the music in for the NBC Olympic music because it is time for a 3-team. Yeah, exactly. So as you can see, I have the USA flag here. I have Lady Liberty on my shirt. I am taking the United States of America over 12.5 gold medals at these Olympics. I think that is an easy lock for them. I think you're going to get a lot going on. I'm also going to take them to take the gold in hockey as well because I think they're going to do it. I think this is the year. I love it when every time they score a goal, they do the guitar solo from Freebird is their goal song. It's fantastic. I love it. I hope they score all the time for it. But I will also take 2 sort of off the beaten path ones as well that are going to happen on Monday and Tuesday. So I'm going to go to the 20-kilometer biathlon, aka the Scandinavian drive-by. If you're not familiar with what biathlon is, it's cross-country skiing. You go over, you shoot a rifle at some targets, and then you keep skiing away again. So that's why I call it a Scandinavian drive-by. I'm going to take Johan Olav Boten plus 500 to win the gold medal there. And then in the Nordic combined, which is both ski jumping and cross-country skiing as well. So you're doing both of those 2 things, which is crazy to think you got to do both of those 2 things. I'm going to take, and I got to say this name very carefully, Stefan Rettenegger from Austria plus 500 to win the gold medal there. So Mikey Mush's Olympics picks, but the 2 big ones, over 12.5 gold medals for the USA to win gold in hockey. Let's go. Let's watch the opening ceremonies tomorrow night. I'm excited. So
I like how Mike thinks he needs to remind us that he's going off the beaten path as if we didn't know that was going to happen already. I don't think Mike's ever been on a smooth path, smooth path with his mush
Olympics.
So
I love especially the Winter
we knew that was happening.
I don't think I've watched an Olympics opening ceremonies for 20 years, 25 years. The other thing, Mike, you know what's funny about the Nordic combined and the biathlon is that essentially they've made a sport out of those Nordic countries fleeing from the Nazis in World War I and II. Right? That's just it's insane because you would always see, like when I watch those old World War II movies, you see them on skis and they're but That's it.
Right. That's like saying Scandinavian drive-by. That's what it is.
We are going to do our Super Bowl picks. I don't know. Well, Jeff, you finished first in the playoff picks. You were 8-4. Mike and I were 6-6. So,
All right.
Jeff, your choice.
That's a
You want to
shocker.
go first or last? Okay.
I'll set it off.
Yeah.
So we're doing it with the
Mike?
spread too, right? We're doing the points, not just the winner. Okay.
Spread. We'll do the spread, the total, and then give me a prop bet as well. We'll do three different ones. So the over/under. So it's Seattle is minus 4.5 points. The over/under is 45.5 points in this game.
Okay. So I like the Patriots plus 4.5, and I also like them winning the game. I think, I know Drake May has not looked great in the playoffs, but you also got to factor in the defenses he was playing and the weather he was playing in, which I think was even bigger. So I don't take too much stock in that. I think he's going to play well, and I think Darnold's going to play well too. So I do like the Patriots winning, and obviously I'll take the 4.5 points as well. Over/under, I'm going to go under. And I know what's that saying, life's too short to bet the under, right? But I actually think these defenses are really going to play well. I think it's going to be an all-around great game. I think you're going to see good quarterback play. You're going to see good defense too. But yeah, so give me the Patriots winning outright, and I will take the under 45.5. And my prop bet. Let me take a look. I had a couple that I was going to choose from, so let me just take one off the top here. Give me Cooper Kupp over 3.5 receptions. I'll use that as my prop bet.
Okay, so Cooper Kupp over 3.5 receptions.
I like
the
those.
under and the Pats flat out or plus the 4.5? Plus the 4.5.
Plus 4.5.
Okay.
Well,
Mike, me or you? You want to go? Me, you?
Because I think it's going to be close.
What do you want to do? Okay.
I'll go. I don't think it's going to be a shocker for either of the first two pieces here, but I'm going to take Seattle minus 4.5. I'm going to take the over 45.5 points for obvious reasons. I'm going to take the over. I'm going to root for points. I'm going to root for Sam Darnold. I think Seattle wins this game by multiple touchdowns.
Wow.
I think this is the come to Jesus moment for the Patriots. I think the clock's going to strike midnight on this team because Seattle's been legit all year. They have faced all these teams in their division. They have shown up every single week, and I think that this is their time. And I think this is Sam's time to exercise those demons and go from there. Now, when it comes to the prop, again, no shocker here. It's going to be something a little wacky. I'm going to take over 2.5 players to have a pass attempt in this game. So someone else is going to throw a pass other than Sam Darnold and Drake May in this game, and it is plus 160 for that as well.
I think that's very low.
The reason why is because it's happened like the last 3 years. It's actually happened, and a lot of people have bet it. I mean, I've bet it the last couple of years, and it's hit. That's the reason why I know that bet. But you know that these coaches are going to pull out something tricky going on. It's going to be some sort of end around, or if it's a blowout, you're going to get that's what happened last year. There was such a blowout that the Eagles' backup quarterback ended up throwing a pass at the end of the game that had no business throwing a pass with like 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and that's how I got the over 2.5 last year. But yeah, Mikey Mush's picks, no surprise on any of those three, and I'll even throw in tails as the
so you've got Seattle, you've got
coin toss
over
as well.
You've got over 2.5 people throwing touchdown passes, and you've got tails. All right, I am taking again, no surprise, like Mike said. I'm taking Seattle. I think they are going to blow them out. I honestly believe that. And it's going to be the over.
Wow.
And my prop bets, I'm adding to that. I'm adding Sam 200 plus passing yards, and I'm adding Sam 2+ passing touchdowns. If you wanted to look at possibly betting that, GM or GM Bet 365 is plus 300 for that combination. So it's Sam over 2 touchdowns, Sam over 200, over 45.5, whatever it is, and Seattle giving the 4.5. And you know what? Yeah, it's giving the 4.5. I was going to bet something else crazy, but yeah, that's it. And I think it's going to be a blowout, and I will be so happy to see the Patriots going home with a blowout.
Yep.
And that's our picks. Guys, everyone, enjoy the Super Bowl. It's the biggest, probably the biggest sporting day of the year for everyone, even for the people who don't know a touchdown from a foul ball. So enjoy it. Enjoy the wings. I know, Mike, you're going to have so many special things there. Jeff, are you going to meet up with people, or is it just you?
Yeah, we're still working on what we're doing, so I'll be doing something for sure.
Oh, you're an
I
over
totally
guy
forgot
all
about
the
the
time.
national anthem as well. So, of course, Charlie Puth is singing it. I think he's going to take his sweet time. So the over-under right now is at about 2 minutes. So I'm going to take over 2 minutes. I think it's either 119 or 120 and a half seconds, depending on which sportsbook you look at. But yeah, give me the over. I think Charlie Puth
and guys, I'm going to give you one bit of advice.
Quickly. I think he's going to take his time.
Mike may have trouble with some of his mush picks, but when it comes to the Super Bowl, Mike is always on, whether it's the Gatorade color, the national anthem. So listen to the show and maybe lean towards whatever Mikey picks. So guys, this was great. We'll meet again next week. I think next week we go a little bit heavier into Mets and Yankees because it's coming. It's going to be that time.
Oh yeah, it's going to be ready. That time.
Yep.
By this time, I think when we record this next week, I think both teams will have reported pitchers and catchers will be in Clearwater and in not Clearwater,
and,
in
Port St. Lucie,
Tampa, and wherever the Mets spring training is. I forget where it is.
Port St.
Lucie, right?
Correct. That's where we are. Port St. Lucie.
Clearwater is where the Phillies are.
All right, guys. Have a great night, guys. I'll talk to you over the weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.